If you're interested in how someone makes a living as a writer or a creative artist, watch this video. I am talking to someone who's doing just that. A good friend of mine named Donovan Scherer, who is more than just an author, but you'll find out about all the things he does. But he is self-employed, makes his full-time living as a creative. And if you want to find out one avenue for how to do that and what it entails, what goes into it, check it out. I'm not a great interviewer, by the way. This is more of a conversation between friends who have been in the industry for a while. So we do a bit of name dropping, we do a bit of reminiscing. There's a lot of talk, shop talk, which is pretty much all we talk about when we get together, which is fun for me. But if you're interested in this kind of stuff, if you're interested in the business of writing and making a living as a writer and a creative and all the possibilities that could go into that, this is a great video for you. It's very sloppy, kind of messy. It's just kind of a tour of a shop and a discussion between writer friends, but I hope you enjoy it. So take a look, and if you do like this, please check out Studio Moonfall's YouTube channel, and if you're ever in the Kenosha, Wisconsin area, go stop by Studio Moonfall or go to studiomoonfall.com and find out more about Donovan Scherer and all his great work. So without further ado, here's the big mess of an interview. I've not tried to do this before, so it'll be exciting. See how the selfie stick works. Hey! Hello. Welcome to Creative Writing Corner. You know me. This is my friend Donovan Scherer. I'm in Kenosha, Wisconsin right now, so you don't get to see the desert this time. But anyway, Donovan, say hi.
Hi. Welcome to Studio Moonfall.
Studio Moonfall. Donovan and I have known each other for about 10 years now. So we met back in 2013. Yeah, we became friends back in 2013 when we met at a Comic-Con that we were both presenting at. I was selling my books in my little booth, and he had this big fancy booth with all this nice stuff at. And shall we walk him around the store?
Sure.
Let's walk him around the store.
So,
cool.
Am I coming with you?
Yeah. Come on with.
All right. So right over here in this big back wall, these are all my books. I write them and do all the artwork and publish them and everything. And yeah, so this is all the stuff I can't fit to bring to comic conventions.
Nice. Yes. Also, there is a book in here.
What do we have?
What do we have over here? I'm going to show the whole book thing here. Not making people busy. I have not done this really before. I've done one little vlog thing before when I went to Comic-Con at Phoenix last year, but we'll see how this comes out.
Yeah.
I'll do some editing. But yeah, this book, you recognize the author name? This is available at studiomoonfall.com. You can get the paperback right from Donovan. It's also available on Amazon, but we're not going to talk about them. They're the competitors. They're the big guy.
Yeah, this is way better.
This is way better for sure. So let's talk about. I feel like I'm being very formal here. Like we normally like talk so relaxed, and now I'm on camera. Let's talk about how you became a writer.
Started writing. There's more.
So
Fear and Sunshine originally started with 4 to 5 page coloring book stories. It was like Dora the Explorer kind of things with little hippie girl trying to help out her monster friends. Then I had to figure out why a little hippie girl was living with a bunch of monsters. So wrote some books to explain that whole story.
So the little hippie girl is named
Sunshine Saliente. She grew up in a treehouse with her hippie foster parents, then finds out she's the heiress to the greatest monster-making dynasty there ever was.
That is epic.
Yeah, so she has to go off and learn mad science, and it's a Dr. Frankenstein kind of family business. That
she's like a little Dr. Frankenstein herself. Right?
Yeah, but she didn't grow up in the business, so she's bringing a new flavor to town.
Yeah, and then we've got the bad guy, the main bad guy here.
That is Mr. Fear.
Hence Fear and Sunshine. Ooh, we got him.
Oh no, he's in the store. Whoa.
What? That's awesome.
Yeah, I used to have a friend that would dress up in the costume for comic conventions.
Oh my god.
Make babies cry, all that fun stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what it's all about, right? That's why they became writers.
Yeah. So down on the bottom, those are all journals. I actually made that big set, the Creatures of Legend journals, in the month prior to opening the store, so I could fill out the shelves with my own stuff. So I have all that artwork on T-shirts and in a coloring book and on buttons. Then
Now,
over
these are all
here,
indie authors, right?
they are either indie or local authors. So mostly indie, mostly people self-publishing, and then we have a few locals that are traditionally published.
A few big names in here. You've got Sean Platt and Johnny B. Truant. They're pretty big in the self-publishing industry. I know you've done some work with them before.
And we've got Craig Martell and Michael Anderley who run 20 books.
Yep. Those names.
Yeah, all sorts of friends. So if you ever read any of the books that I have in the store, I can let the authors know what you think.
Oh yeah, there's that book again. There's that
Whoa,
book by that
it's
guy.
everywhere.
Yeah. This is. I've always been impressed by your store, of course.
Yeah, it is. Got to straighten up the shelves a little bit. We had several hundred people roll through here on Sunday for the Kenosha Book Festival.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's not. What I really like about so the Kenosha Book Festival. We'll talk about that in a minute. What I really like about your store is the way it's branded. The way it all like ties into you.
Yeah. Well, I'm in charge. I get to decorate it how I want.
Yeah.
So we've got all sorts of cool little cryptids here with Ballyraven folklore and some games. Started bringing in a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stuff too.
Nice.
Hopefully, I want to start writing my own adventures for that.
I was going to say, yeah, you played D&D quite a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar. I mean, I played once or twice, but I know roughly how it works. I watched little videos online. But it's just one of my nerddoms that I've never really fully embraced. Kind of like gaming and gaming in general and D&D in particular. Not my strength.
Well, if I write up some games, I fully expect you to play them.
Yeah, I will be there. I will be there. You know it. We got Mr. Fear again up here.
No, that's just
the Pumpkinhead guy?
The Pumpkin Kids. There's they're a brother and sister in my imagination. Haven't written a story for them yet. There's another one up in the other corner.
Sure. Based on current apocalypse. Fair enough.
Yeah, I haven't had to change that in a while.
No, the apocalypse is still ongoing, isn't it? Well, I'm looking forward to the next apocalypse coming up. But yeah, so that's the store, just kind of in general. So yeah, so Donovan, I'm just going to set this up here, and we can just kind of talk.
Sure. Do you want the mic? I'll hold the little tiny microphone.
All right. So let's make sure we're all getting in there. I'll expand the view. I'm going to have to do some editing on this. It's all good. You can get a good amount of store in. Okay, so Donovan and I met at a comic convention, but we actually already had been introduced online at a Facebook author event back when I was still on Facebook, doing Facebook author events and stuff. We were introduced by a fellow author, a guy who's a member of the Horror Writers Association, Jay Thorne. Remember Jay?
Yeah, I've done work for him too for cover design. Wow.
Donovan, I really admire Donovan because he's doing all these things that I wish I could do.
All the things.
I can do
so many things.
I can do the writing stuff. Like, I can do the writing stuff, and pretty much that's where I stop. I understand some of the publishing business, but I don't do it very well. Donovan has hustle. When did you open this store? You didn't have the store when I first met you.
No. I opened the end of 2019 because of my impeccable timing for things. So we made it through. So 3.5 years later, we're still here. So that's great.
Kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing because considering what happened to so many small businesses back then.
Yeah. It was a hard push. I had to pivot quite a bit from the original plan. Originally, the store was just going to be a studio space to feature my own books and probably a handful of other people that I've done stuff for, like yours.
Yeah.
But then we went more retail with it for trying to work around 2020, and then I started doing the local coloring books too, which helped out everybody. So yeah, they're cool. Got the Color of Kenosha. So if you ever come here, there's a coloring book where you can check out the businesses. It's like an illustrated tour guide.
It's all these businesses. So if you ever come to Kenosha, Wisconsin, stop by Studio Moonfall. It's right by the lake, and or coffee shops around, a nice little business district. But you get to pick up these coloring books.
And you can get them on Amazon if you're not in Kenosha. So that one is processing. I published it there this morning. But for these ones, we actually do big print runs because all the businesses get copies, so we are all distributing it throughout the city.
Yeah, I ordered the first one. I've got the first one at home.
Yeah.
So, you did start doing those in what, 2021?
2020.
2020. Yeah. Okay, so this is the fourth one.
Yeah, that was specifically for COVID lockdown. So people would have something to do while they're at home, and it would give them a reminder of all the businesses out there who miss them dearly and need their support to survive.
Okay, so boy, I wish I'd written down more questions.
Yeah.
I've just been so busy.
Yeah, lately. Just look at a thing in this place, and then you probably come up with something. Today is Free Book Friday.
Yes.
You come here Fridays, you get free used books.
And then you got the Kenosha Book Festival. I dropped in on that this last Sunday, right? This Sunday, so the last Sunday of every month through the summer.
Fourth Sunday of every month. Okay. So yeah, we start. The first one is in April for Independent Bookstore Day, and then it switches to every fourth Sunday through September.
Okay.
And it's been great. We bring in around 20 local authors and food trucks and thousands of used books for $1 a piece.
If you're an indie author and you're published and you end up coming to the Kenosha area, hit Donovan up. Hit Donovan up. He might have a table for you to present your books and sell your stuff. I did that actually here last year. I was one of your Sunday visiting authors, and I had actually a pretty good day of book sales.
Yeah.
Better than I expected to. So I very much appreciated that. But anyway, in terms of my audience, is kind of a mix of beginning writers and writers who are more experienced and people who are just kind of interested in fiction and stuff in general. So I wanted to interview you, A, because you're one of my author friends, but B, because you do things so differently than just about any other writer I know. You're a writer and an illustrator, for one, which means that you're like, in theater, there's this thing called a double threat or a triple threat. Someone who can act, sing, and dance is a triple threat.
Okay.
You are at least a double threat. You're actually a triple threat because you can write, draw, and market.
Yeah, kind of.
The three skills that you really want to have in this world.
The marketing is still a work in progress. I don't do well at all online.
Yeah.
For like sales on Amazon. Hence me needing to open a brick and mortar store because I'm so bad at SEO.
Oh boy, I hear you. I am miserable at that. I don't try to teach like publishing lessons or anything like that. I only teach what's in my expertise. There's part of the reason why I want to talk to you, because this is a lot of people just think online is the only way to run a business anymore.
Yeah,
but you're not doing that.
No, I started doing the books in 2009, and after starting 2010, I started doing comic conventions and then farmers markets and things like that. Nowadays, I do a farmers market just about every weekend on top of running the store, and then I'll throw in conventions here and there. Not too much. I've phased most of those out because they have such a higher upfront overhead cost.
Yeah, you have to travel so much.
Yeah. And just getting a table is 10 times the price of doing a table at a farmer's market.
I always felt lucky. I did probably 5 or 6 conventions total. It's been years since I did my last one, but every time I always felt lucky if I just made my fee back. I wouldn't even necessarily cover the cost of all my books.
Yeah.
Like I just made my fee back, and then I'd be like, okay, so was it worth it? Maybe not monetarily, but at least I got my books out there, got my name out there.
Yeah.
But you definitely do better than that. So how do you do it? How do you get people to buy your books at conventions? I'm really curious about this.
All presentation, and the covers are all professional level. I design them myself.
Yes, of course.
I am a cover designer by trade.
My cover, and he formatted my book, so it's really nice, guys. Pick up a little Halloween.
So good presentation with the books themselves, and then your table. If you dig through and see any of the booth setups that I do, they all look good. I picture the booth as a whole for how it's going to look from a distance for people. And I do so many shows, I have a lot of opportunity to dial it in.
You have videos set up at your booth. You have electronic games set up.
No games anymore. We used to have the Zombies game up and running, but that's no longer available. But you can see a lot of the videos of the booth setups on the Studio Moonfall YouTube channel. But I do shows every single weekend, so it's a lot of trial and error and getting to know your sales pitch and getting to know who your customers are, so you're not pitching the wrong thing to
the wrong person. Yeah.
I also have a huge variety of stuff that I can bring to shows because I do merchandising based on all my books, and
that's where the real money seems to come in, right? Is that you get a lot of your income from merchandising, or is it a lot of it from books?
It's a chunk.
Okay.
I mean, it's a fair amount of it. The merchandising that I do, though, is more genre based, so it's not like stuff of my characters doesn't sell,
like these guys,
stuff that's more themed.
You made these, right?
Not so much the postcards, but like the artwork of the monsters and stuff like that. For just like I got Plague Doctor shirt, that's cool.
Yep.
Throw a Wendigo on something. It's all
these
good.
Guys gonna be bringing one of these home for my 4-year-old.
Oh yeah, got stickers, so that's all coloring book artwork. But even the coloring books with all the monsters and everything they work as a supplement to the Fear and Sunshine books. So yeah, it's just monster art. Really, it's great. And then
I love your monster art. I mentioned it to Don this morning that looked kind of like it's kind of like pseudo anime style, and he said he was raised on, what was it?
Dragon Ball and Bugs Bunny.
So think combining smashing Dragon Ball and Bugs Bunny together with a little bit of a horror theme to it.
Yeah.
And that's essentially Donovan's artwork, and it is pretty amazing. So let's talk about your storytelling philosophy. Let's talk about because we talked a bit about writing on Saturday, talked for a few hours, and I'd just like to hear your position on writing and storytelling.
Well, it's been a long time since I've written books. A lot of I want to get back to it, but I am leaning more towards focusing on the market I'm writing for first, to make sure I currently have 5 chapter books. They're all middle grade, like horror fantasy sort of books, and then the coloring books, I put those out every month. So I want to make sure that when I get back to writing, it's for the audience I've established through everything else. But it's been too long, so we'll see.
You've been doing a lot of planning and stuff. You're talking about you've got 80,000 words planned for your next book.
I have 80,000 words written for my next book. Yeah, it's all. It might be like 3 separate rough drafts all mixed together with random notes. So I'm going to need a month to just sort that out and put it into some sort of form for other people to consume. But yeah, it's going to be a 60,000 word book. So I've got the whole story's there. It's just not in any sort of order.
Is that going to be the last book of the series?
No, I think I have 2 more books planned for the core series after that. And then
you got spin-offs as well, because you got all those characters to play with.
Not too much for spin-offs. But there are like the generations before Sunshine. I want to write their stories, and then probably do a later story with Sunshine herself when she's older. So like this is Dragon Ball, and then we got Dragon Ball Z coming up.
Nice.
But then there's still backstories, which would be probably a bit different than the main like wacky fun mayhem of Fear and Sunshine. So they'll probably go a little more like gothic fantasy.
Because one thing I want to talk to you about is series writing. Because the only series I've ever written is a Cthulhu for Kids, and I only did the first 2 books. I have a 3rd book that I've actually written. I wrote my 3rd book back in 2016, but then Mo and I both got so busy that it's like actually getting the illustrations done and getting it produced and stuff. So if you guys have read the first couple Cthulhu for Kids books, thank you. The 3rd book is coming out someday. But it's kind of like the 5th book is coming out someday.
Fear and Sunshine, the last main book of the story was 10 years ago. So eventually, it'll come here eventually. A lot of the people who read it have grown up since then, but I think the stories are all ages enough that they'll still enjoy it.
Well, my son was reading them when he was like 8 years old, and he still reads them. So he's 19 now. So,
But part of the problem with like continuing on to a long series and stuff, if you don't get the financial success, then you have to do everything else to make sure you're able to eat,
able to do it, able to continue a series.
Yeah, even with Fear and Sunshine, I'm hoping to build up a backlog of the coloring books, so I'm like set up for the next 6 months, and then
So you've got stuff to publish while you're working on the book.
Yeah,
that's actually a really good idea, is to have things in line, especially if you're trying to make a living as a writer, is to have things already in line to load up your catalog so that you can work on your other projects.
Yeah. Or if you're doing stuff with multiple types of books, then like the coloring books, I can put out a coloring book every month. So if I had a little more free time, I could be writing and then producing those books simultaneously. So we have that constant drip of new products and content, and then be working on the bigger projects. Eventually, I want to be doing that with with chapter books itself. So start up a Goosebumps kind of series, put that out every single month, and then do the bigger series like twice a year.
That'd be so cool. So what I really want to talk about is, in terms of writing serious fiction, how did you do that? Did you have the idea in mind as a 7-book series when you first started Fear and Sunshine?
No. I wrote the first 2 books together. Like the first, so there's the prelude, that's book 0, and then book 1. Those 2, you could read it and you have a full-on story and everything. But with read it, the character really being in that world, then there's you can bring in like past characters and stuff like that, and then expand and go deeper in exploring the world that she's discovered. The last book, though, I left it on a little bit of a cliffhanger. So sorry, I haven't been able to do book 3.
I confess I have not read that last book yet, but my son has. And he's been champing at the bit for years. So he every once in a while asks me, "Does Donovan publish his next book yet?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm sure he's working on it.
It's coming. It's coming. It's a big project to have to, when you've already started working on it and you know your market potential and everything like that. It can be hard to put out a book that I know the next book launch is going to fail on it. I have enough customers that it'll do fine, but it's not going to like take off or
explode. Not going to go viral.
So
especially since it's like the 5th book of a series, so it's your only attraction is your already existing customers primarily. You can do some reach out. You do reach out when you publish a new book.
I sell more books every year than I sold the year before with the books I published 14 years ago. So it keeps snowballing every year. Because I'm just getting better at selling my own books and everything like that.
Kind of the opposite of what's happened to me, since I've kind of just let my Amazon books go stale. They sell a couple copies a month until Christmas time comes around. Then I actually might make double digits in Christmas.
You can still counteract that through advertising on Amazon or wherever, because as long as you're putting it out there, and like pushing it, making an effort to push it, you're going to reach new eyeballs that have never seen it before. So it doesn't matter if it's an old book if you're finding new customers. Like if I'm writing books for 4th graders, there's a new round of 4th graders every year. So you could just make that book go to them. Like we got the Waldo thing starting up for July. I don't know when the last time a Waldo book was made, or they're probably just looking at the same ones that came out.
But everyone knows what it is.
Whenever.
I guarantee you, my students, we do at my school, we do Spirit Weeks every once in a while, and at least once, probably twice, we've done a Where's Waldo Day, where everyone comes in dressed as Waldo, and my middle and high schoolers they all know who Waldo is. Yeah. So you have Walzo, right?
Yes.
Show him. Show him?
Yeah, Walzo is he's in charge of the Artist Alley section of Studio Moonfall. So he'll take care of any comic conventions.
Yes.
Walzo
don't get on his bad side.
Oh, he's okay. He doesn't really know what's going on at any given moment. He is a zombie. They are zombie beans. You go to zombeans.com. You can check them all out. They were originally so after I did the book 1 of Fear and Sunshine, I wanted to figure out how to advertise it. I had no experience in self-publishing or book marketing, so I figured the most logical thing for me to do to advertise my books would be to teach myself programming and make a video game for iPhone and Android where you shoot brains at zombie beans, and that would drive all the traffic to my books. I think we got some people coming in.
Like you do. We got customers coming in. So right. Donovan, I really would have liked to talk writing a little more, but we haven't had a whole ton of time. So I really appreciate being your friend and learning just all this stuff from you and coming in. So I'm looking forward. I'll be doing a signing here for sure next summer at some point.
Next
I'll let you
summer.
guys know beforehand.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, customers coming in, so thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Studio. Hello.
I hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't do interviews or conversations very often on this channel. I'd like to start doing them more down the road. I do have a number of contacts in the indie author world that I would like to discuss writing with. So if you guys are interested in this content and you want to see more, just let me know. Let me know if there's anyone in particular you'd like to see me interviewed. I'm probably not going to be able to get Stephen King or Neil Gaiman, but smaller level authors I might be able to get in touch with and get at least a brief conversation with them. So let me know. I'm really curious about that. And please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more writing related content. That's about all I have to say. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace.